Hello my friends, and welcome to Tom's Tinkering and Adventures. Coming to you today from my Global Domination headquarters garage. I was working on this Polaris quad the other day. I got her wrapped up, she was running good, did an oil change on it, checked a few other things, and the guy's coming to pick it up. Now he left me with this XR400, and I got some work to do on this thing. I've already started. Got the tank and the seat off, and the carburetor is out. I don't know if you can hear it over here. It's cooking up right there in the ultrasonic cleaner. But what we're going to do today for the video, as I've done carburetors multiple times, we're going to do a valve clearance check. So obviously your first steps are to gain access to your valve adjusters right here, and there's 4 caps on here. Let me see, I've got them right over here. I'll show you what they look like. I already took them all off. So there's 4 of these, and they're 24 millimeters. Obviously I have the carburetor off, but you don't need to take the carburetor off to do this, just the tank and the seat. Alright, so once you got these caps all off, your next step is to find top dead center. There are inspection covers here on the side of the engine. Here's the large one, and here's the small one. These come off with Allen wrenches. Okay, I'm just kind of reinstalling them so you can kind of see what they look like. Allen wrench for that one, big Allen wrench for this one. So you take those out, and then you turn your engine counterclockwise. Now, if you're familiar at all with how a 4-stroke engine works, you have 4 strokes. It's a 4-stroke engine. Suck, squeeze, bang, blow, intake, compression, power, exhaust. So you have exhaust pipes here, so these are your exhaust valves. Your carburetor and intake is on this side. There's your intake valves. Engine is turning. All right, so you watch. I don't know if you can see this here. See the exhaust valves, or rocker arms actually, moving the exhaust valves. So that's the exhaust stroke. Followed by intake. Okay, so where we want to get is the compression stroke on this engine. So we've done intake, compression will be next. I'm going to try to get this set up so you can see in here, but I don't know if you're going to be able to or not. I just don't have enough hands. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set this down. I'll put it there. We'll zoom in. And maybe with some light on the subject we can see in there. So now you want to turn it slowly. This is an inspection port here, and we're looking for that little mark right there. I just went past it. Well, we're going to want to double check to make sure, because that might not be the mark that we're looking for. There's the mark we're looking for. Bigger marks. I'll bring you in. Hopefully you can see this here. It's so hard to get the camera and the light in the right place. There, possibly you can see that now. There's just a little stamped mark on the top of that flywheel. Now that means we're at top dead center, and that means there should be valve clearance on all these, and that's where we're going to check the intake and the exhaust valves. Now I've already looked up the measurements for these. and it is 0.10 millimeters for the intake valve and 0.12 millimeters for the exhaust valve. So let me get my feeler gauges and we will see what we've got. 0.10 millimeters. So that's the one we need to check. And where you want to check this at is between this rocker arm and the valve stem. Oops. Maintenance is always more difficult. So we've got plenty of clearance. It's actually probably a little bit on the loose side. But loose is better than tight. Check this side. That one's also loose. Check the exhausts. That one feels ideal. What you're looking for when you're feeling this is a very slight drag. You don't want it to be hard to install, and you don't want it to just slide in and out easily. And that one I'm having a little bit of a difficult time getting it in there and holding this camera at the same time. The camera crew. Need to attach the camera to the dog, somebody told me. Alright. Well, I'm going to get some tools out here so we can double check these intakes because they feel a little bit loose to me. And I'm going to see if I can't set up this camera so that I don't have to hold it, because doing all this, I just don't have enough hands. Alright, we're going to give this a try here. So I got my 10 millimeter, or 0.10 millimeters, I'm sorry. And like I said, it feels a little bit loose. So what you do is there's a lock nut on the top, 10 millimeter wrench. You loosen that lock nut, and you drop the wrench while everyone's watching on camera. There you go, loosen that lock nut. Then you can either tighten or loosen this screw. I just turned it just a little bit, and now I'm feeling, see, if I tighten it more, it won't come out. So it's a very precise amount that you have to adjust it. Then you have to hold it, hold the screw, and that feels better. I'm getting just a little bit of drag. So we will do the same thing for the other side on the intake valve, and then we'll put her back together. And I don't know if any of y'all caught my mistake, but I caught it before I put her back together. I did the 0.10 on the intake, and then I did 0.15 on the exhaust, but the exhausts are 0.12. So they were actually a little bit on the loose side as well. Now, like I said, loose valves better than tight valves, but this bike is having some difficulty starting, so we're going to try to set everything as close to factory parameters as we can to try to make it a little bit better to start, because just trying to make this bike reliable and easy to ride. Alright, so now all we gotta do is put all these caps back on. There's 4 of them. Like I said, 24 millimeter. A lot of you might not have a 24 millimeter wrench, so if you're using a crescent wrench on these, be careful. Or take a look. Sometimes in your toolkit you have a weird size wrenches on the factory toolkits that come with bikes. I know they're usually garbage tools, but sometimes there's some odd big wrenches for taking axles and that sort of stuff off. So even though they're kind of crappy wrenches, the factory tools are made out of like stamped aluminum or cast aluminum in there. Well, they're light and cheap, but better to have a a light and cheap 24mm that doesn't strip it out. And we'll put these back on. Hopefully. This one you got to check to make sure it has the O-ring on it. It's usually stuck in here, but just make sure that's there. And these, you don't have to get too ambitious tightening them, because what will happen is they seize into this aluminum cover. I've had to bust a few of these out over the years. They're a real pain. Surprisingly, you would think they would come out pretty easy, but they don't. Okay, we'll tighten those down. Let's go take a look at the carburetor just for the hell of it. See how that's looking. Oh yeah, soup is cooking here. You can still see it's, well, maybe you can't see that, how dirty it is. There you go. Lots of crud. This whole back section was really filthy. The rest of the carburetor didn't look too bad, honestly. The jets and stuff are in here. I stick them all in the bowl. And they didn't look too bad. But the gas that came out of here was a bit on the stinky side. There we go, we'll cook that up. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten up those inspection caps. I'm waiting on some parts for this bike. I got a oil filter, an air filter, a new spark plug. I'm going to do an oil change, and then I also noticed there was some pieces missing. The hold down inside the air box that holds the air filter on is missing. And there's some other stuff that needs to be addressed on here as well. Get the brake lights working, and I think we're going to change out these fork boots, because this one looks pretty ratty. But I think that's it for the video today, because a lot of this stuff I've done numerous times already. But it's my bread and butter in here. It's what keeps the shop running. So, you know, I can make videos about it every day. And, you know, with different model vehicles, I very well may. But just let me know what you think in the comments below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button for more of the same or more different stuff. There's always something happening around here. Thank you very much for watching. Get out there and find your adventure. Adios.